Buying a full suspension e-bike for 704 euros, shipped, and putting nearly 3,000 kilometers on it in just over a year? When I first bought it, a lot of people told me I was crazy and even laughed at me, but over time they completely changed their mind once they saw that this thing is nearly as bad as they mistakenly thought. Few of them actually went ahead and bought this exact brand. Why? If you want to know, keep watching. I bought this bike back in April 2025, and today I have almost 3,000 kilometers on the odometer. So I'm here to tell you the raw truth about it. It's my very first e-bike, and so I won't compare it to other 10,000 euro brand names, but I'm giving you what I think are the real pros and cons, and what I learned along the way with it, and also how it turned into what is, at least for me, an absolute 42 amp hour beast. Alright, let's start with the pros. For this price point, I couldn't find a better full suspension configuration on the market, at least on paper. Sure, there were others like had a TX series, some EBike, Shang Milo, but almost all of those other brands were fat bikes, which I personally don't like, and those bikes / e-bikes are not for me. And the exception was had a TX series, but that bike cost around 400 euros more at the time when I purchased mine. This bike, it arrives 90% pre-assembled, making the initial setup incredibly straightforward. I mean, you put the front wheel on, you put on the handlebar, tighten it up, and pump the tires up, and you're good to go, basically. I was also surprised by the stock accessory package. This bike came with a helmet, sunglasses, hand pump, some wrenches, natural charger, and some other good stuff. I mean, it's nothing high-end, but it's awesome to get you started. With the original 14 amp hour battery, by riding conservatively on a pedal assist level 2 out of 5, I managed to squeeze out a solid 80 kilometers of range. That's some 50-ish miles, I believe. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. And with over 1,100 meters of elevation gain. So this is a bike I can easily recommend to anyone looking for a reliable daily commuter or casual rides without extreme demands. More on that later. So where's the catch? Randride markets this bike for heavy mountain bike trails and downhill, but I gotta be real, the frame structure and overall build quality simply don't inspire the long-term confidence needed for extreme riding. The second issue, again, I'm speaking for me, this might not be the case for you, but for me it was a stock CST tires. That aggressive trail tread creates massive rolling resistance on asphalt, and which drains the battery and puts the stress on the motor. And to top it off, they emit a horribly loud, I mean, it's not so horrible, but it's really loud drone-like noise. I gotta give the credit where the credit is due. The tires were durable, I'm not gonna lie. and they lasted me about 2,500 kilometers until I swapped them for the recent ones I have, and those are Victoria I believe it's pronounced Mescal, correct me if I'm wrong again, XC trails, which are way quieter and faster. Also, the center tread on Victoria reduces rolling resistance a lot, which again helps the battery and the motor. Third issue, and probably the first bigger issue I experienced with this bike, were stock pedals. Let's get that out of the way. Those are pure garbage. The bearings clearly aren't sealed, and one of them just seized up completely just about 2 or 3 months and during my morning commute. Thank God I have a throttle to get me to work. Right after the work, I rode straight to the bike shop and got some temporary replacements until the red ones I have now, the West Vikings aluminum, came in. You probably noticed all these upgrades I did, they have a touch of red because I like my setup style to match. On long hauls, every millimeter counts, and because the stock handlebar position didn't suit me, I swapped the factory stem for a adjustable ones, which I got again from AliExpress. If you notice, all of the upgrades I did were bought directly from AliExpress, and I believe they're fantastic. For this price that you pay, you cannot get any better. And that upgrade raised the bars into a much more comfortable position. And to finally eliminate numb hands, I added ergonomic grips with red and black bar ends for, I believe they cost €10 or so. And I also swapped the seat for my trusted Selle Royale saddle, which I had before. What I learned along the way is, and I cannot stress that enough, spend the time needed to really dial in your sitting position, so there is as little suffering, let's call it that way, as little suffering during cycling as possible. I learned the hard way when after 130 km plus my lower back hurt for days after. Yeah, my bad, I know. I should be more careful before, but it is what it is, and we've all learned from our mistakes. At least I do. The electronics deserve their own chapter. The whole system runs on a UART2 protocol, which I believe is generic protocol used among Chinese e-bike manufacturers. And the cables are thin. I mean, not the insulation around, but the actual cables and wires inside. And they are very prone to breaking. And if you'll experiment and twist them around too much, you will snap them. Just like that. I'm pretty sure about it. The connectors are also generic, and they have a very thin pins inside, and that makes plugging them together kind of a risky job if you don't do it very carefully. I wanted to clean up the clutter on my handlebars, so I bought a larger H8 Bluetooth display from AliExpress to link up with my phone. And a word of warning, Randride uses a completely unique wiring diagram from the others, at least my knowledge, and so the upgrade didn't work at all. If you're buying this bike, forget about easy plug and play electronic mods in the cockpit. Needless to say, the system is also incompatible with a Fang peripherals and others. For anyone looking to buy and upgrade this e-bike, I highly advise you to double check that your parts are genuinely compatible with their specific UART2 protocol layout. The brakes were one of my first upgrades because early on I learned the hard way that the stock 160mm rotors are not built for my kind of riding, not at all. On a particular long haul, the route took me on a steep 18 to 19 degrees descent. The hill was about only, 600 or 700 meters long, but by the bottom I could heavily smell burning brakes, and the rotors had turned completely blue, and this is a massive safety hazard for me. Also, the little non-floating rotors are prone to bend a little while hot, and that makes grinding more on the brake pads. That is, unless you stop to cool them down, which of course in many cases is not an option. I mean, come on, if you'll be stopping every 5 minutes to cool the brakes down, come on, I'm not doing that. That got me thinking real hard, and so I dug myself into research, and later, after careful consideration, I bought and installed the Zoom 4-pistons hydraulic brakes and paired them with a 203mm 3 Pro floating rotors, and I gotta say, results were mind-blowing. It's difference like night and day. And now the brakes are more than capable of braking and stopping without creating too much of a heat. I mean, there is some of the heat, but not as much as before. As for range, I initially carried a second stock 40 amp hour battery in my backpack, but 5 kilos on your back on long hauls quickly becomes a nightmare, really. So that again got me thinking, and I got myself a rear rack battery with 28.8 amp hour, and it's loaded with genuine LG or Samsung cells. I'm not sure which ones. Do yourself a favor and avoid the non-branded ones. It's wired in parallel via a smart Y dual battery module with a 50 amp fuse. So now I have 42 amp hours of capacity on tap. That gives me a massive, let's say, I believe it's around 210 kilometers. But warning, here's a massive safety drawback, and I mean massive. For some people, for me it's not so much of a big deal, but for some people that can also be a deal breaker. With that rear rack battery, the bike's stability is drastically reduced. Because the rear rack is designed the way it is, the battery's weight sits, I know I should explain it, sits way outside the main support points. At speeds, I will say anything above 35 kilometers per hour, 40 kilometers per hour. The entire rear end dances and jiggles left and right when going over some bumps on asphalt and whatnot. That makes, let's say, high-speed cornering pure Russian roulette. Because it happened to me one time that I forgot about it. I got into the right turn way too fast, and I went to a small bump, and the battery in the back just jiggled left and right, and I almost flew into the ditch. And at the time, I believe on the odometer it was about 65, 67 kilometers per hour, and that's a quite high speed. You can also completely forget about riding hands-free. The moment you let go of handlebars, the center of gravity shifts so far back that you will experience that wobble of death when the front end of the bike just wobbles left and right, and you will float right to the ground. Period. This isn't so much of a failure, to be honest, but take it rather as a warning to pay attention to your bike's behavior. At around 2,500 kilometers, it was right after I did a 2-day, about 360 kilometer tour. I noticed a worrying, grinding sound coming from the rear wheel while coasting. At first I thought the motor was toast because the wheel didn't spin as freely as before. Also, the sound coming out of the hub indicated toward motor failure. But as always, I was being optimistic that was not the case, and in the end I was right. The mechanics at the shop, they were hesitant to fix it because no one wants to touch the Chinese budget brands here. In the end, they replaced the worn out bearing, and they also clean and fresh greased the internal gears of the motor, and the machine is running like new. So, for a total investment of around 1,500 euros, I got a full suspension, e-bike with 42 amp-hour of capacity, heavy-duty brakes, custom ergonomics, and as a first e-bike and also project platform, this bike here is an absolute winner for me. And no, Randride does not sponsor this video. This is completely my honest opinion. So hit follow to see if the custom setup survives the next challenges that are ahead of me, and let me know in the comments. Would you modify a budget e-bike like this, or would you rather spend triple the money on brand names?